Welcome to the Kingdom of Bahrain for the Bapco Energies 8 Hours of Bahrain, the 8th and final round of the FIA World Endurance Championship 2024. After three practice sessions, we are heading into qualifying. Back in the Gulf States where we started the season for the first time ever in Qatar, back in what seems like 2022. It's been a long season through Imola and Spa and Le Mans and Sao Paulo and Cota and Fuji. We now end up at our title decider because in the Hypercar, the key category, the titles are yet to be decided. Hypercars go out for qualifying shortly, but first it will be the turn of our LMGT3 teams. See, Anthony Davidson arriving late has just thrown me completely off my stride. Anthony, one of the key features in the LMGT3, as in GTE Pro-Am, is that the bronze-rated drivers all go out and qualify together. So for these guys, a lot of whom, like Takeshi Kimura there, bring part of the sponsorship package for the program, they are able to go out and qualify against their peers.
Well, qualifying's all about timing, isn't it, Martin? And yeah, I think you're fine. I wasn't late at all. Bang on time, so I'm on pole position for now.
Provisional pole.
Yeah, for now. Okay, so
got through to hyperpole. Sorry, excuse me.
For those of you who haven't joined us before this season, A, where were you, and B, welcome, in whichever order you prefer to take that. This is qualifying in two parts now, not in a knockout format like Formula One has, but there is a similar jeopardy. In the first session of qualifying, which is an open qualifying session as you would understand it, featuring just 12 minutes of track time, all cars go out together. Then the fastest 10 cars go through into Hyperpole, and that session decides the top 10 cars in the category on the grid. So from 11th on down, those positions are set. So the key element here, Graham Goodwin, is to get a top 10 time in the first 12 minutes. But this track, Anthony, is not making it easy for them.
It's really not. No, it's been a challenging circuit. It's always a tight technical track to master. I'm going to take a bit of a closer look here. 3.3 miles long, 5.4 kilometers. Clockwise circuit, 15 corners. Looking at turn one, it's critical. You've got a headwind today. You're going to extend your braking zone into that one and really find some time into there. Don't outbrake yourself through turn one. It will mess up turn 2 and 3. And then you're into turn 4. There's a new gravel trap on the exit of this one. You've got to keep all four wheels within those white lines, of course, but that gravel is going to be there to test the drivers on the exit if they go a bit too far. Then down towards turn 10, 9 and 10. It's one continuous flow into this, what looks like a double apex corner, and it's very easy to end up grabbing a front wheel, locking up, and running a bit wide through there. You daren't throw away that kind of time. On this corner we're looking at here, there is 9 into 10. And you see the racing line there, the black rubber line, how it's that one continuous flow. The car's turning and braking at the same time, and racing cars really don't like that when you're testing it in all elements.
And that overhead shot actually makes it look a lot simpler than it is, because there it just looks flat. Whereas here, actually, you're in a corkscrew downhill tightening turn. So getting ready to head out, here's our BMW garage. The BMWs were the slowest pair of cars in LMGT3, Graham, in FP3, but have not been at the bottom of the times all the way through the other practice sessions. And again, qualifying is going to be all about getting that time in very early without destroying your tyres.
Absolutely right. Remember, it is a single tyre choice in dry weather for these LMGT3 cars on the Goodyear rubber. Remember too, it is the bronze drivers this season in both the qualifying session now to determine that top 10 into Hyperpole and for setting pole position in that later Hyperpole session. So all sorts of good stuff to come, but in terms of the tyre choice, it's actually completely simple this year. The change comes next year.
And in terms of tyres, if you do get through into Hyperpole, that doesn't put you on the back foot for the race, because there will be a fresh set of tyres for each of the 10 cars in both categories that get through into Hyperpole to be used just for that one session. And of course, as we've seen for the last couple of seasons, there are no tyre warmers. That's why the cars are coming out of the garage with not tyres on, because fitting tyres in a garage might allow you to do other things other than just fit them, like heat them. And so they come out, they are stored in the air, in fresh air, in a tent, not in a heated oven. So they come out at ambient air temperature. Now here, that's around 26, 27 degrees today. The operating temperature, Anthony, for these tyres will be around 90 plus degrees Celsius. So for LMGT3, ignore the Sport Plus. It is just the medium tyre rather than the medium plus and the wet weather tyre. They are here. Chances are we're not going to use them.
Yeah, so just the one tyre that Goodyear have available, that yellow striped sidewall. They're medium tyres, what we've had all season long. It's quite remarkable, isn't it, really, that one tyre compound can do the entire season. All the different attributes they need to be good at. Le Mans, those long straights, the integrity you need from a tyre, the durability. Then you come here to Bahrain, a real tight, twisty track, stop and start, high degradation. It's remarkable that they can be that versatile in many ways. Such a wide operating window.
Well, never mind that. Front engine normally aspirated, front engine turbo, mid-engined, rear-engined. I mean, every conceivable number and variety and layout of cylinders as well. Every single car is very different from the next manufacturer. So not only has it got to survive all these different tracks, it's also got to perform equally well for all these different cars. And here's a classic example, the Lamborghini rear engine, normally aspirated V10.
And what is going to be the next chapter in the Iron Dame story? Wrote history in World Championship racing with a win 2 years ago in the final GTE AM race 2 years ago, last year. Now with LMGT3 looking to break a string of terrible luck, Rahul Fry there, that they hope will bring them a win to finish the season on a high.
And Sarah Bovey, who you just saw there, the only driver in LMGT3 to have claimed more than one pole position this season. She's had 2 poles already.
Yeah, without doubt one of the best bronze drivers, and it's, like you said, at the top there, Martin, that all the bronze drivers have to qualify in the LMGT3 category. So without question, Sarah Bovey, one of the best bronze-rated drivers out there on the grid.
And so far, 6 of our 8 brands have taken qualifying honours, pole position honours in the 7 sessions so far. The colours of Bahrain there over the rotunda. And as Anthony is pointing at the screen, you can see that the flag is not hanging limply, it is waving briskly, headwind on the front straight.
Yeah, and it's your guide from inside the car. You can look up actually on the main straight and see, or even when you're in the pits here, you look up, you can see the direction of the flag. You know that it's going to be giving you more airflow over the car and therefore more downforce. Braking into the headwind always gives you that advantage, and equally on the flip side, when you're going away from it, so it's a tailwind, you know the car's going to be a bit light underneath you, and so when you're heading therefore on this track towards turn 11, watch out for cars potentially running wide there.
And also when we're talking about overtaking, that's going to be a factor. So the qualifying session starting to get underway here for LMGT3, round 8 of the FIA World Endurance Championship.
LMGT3 qualifying session. Please remind drivers that the track is clean, track is dry, and the need to respect track limits. I will come back to the frequency before we open pit lane.
Eduardo Freitas, our race director, and in the drivers' briefing yesterday, thanking the drivers and the teams for making life entertaining in the race director's office.
30 seconds, under 30 seconds to open pit exit.
Under or fewer than?
Oh,
I think
stop.
the jury's still out. So everybody waiting on the pit apron. Not everybody. There's some cars already at the pit exit.
Pit exit opens in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. LMGT3 qualifying has started.
The words of Eduardo Freitas get qualifying underway here for LMGT3. 18 cars, and this is really the way that the race works as well. 18 hopefuls, only 10 get something decent out of this, and this will be the same in the race. 18 cars will start the race, only 10 will get points. So Hyperpole really reflects the pressure that everybody is under from the moment they turn up at the circuits.
Absolutely right. A couple of changes in the entry, by the way, on GT3 this weekend, but none of them in the bronze drivers. It is the regular 18 drivers we've had for much, and in most cases for the whole of the season. And those changes we've seen in terms of their form will be further accented today.
I will correct you on that, because there has been a bronze driver change. Last time that we were racing, the 88 Proton Porsche had Christian Reed at the wheel. Giorgio Roda has returned.
You are correct.
So let's run through very quickly. Giorgio Roda is back in the 88. He's been joined by another new driver to the championship, Gianmarco Lavorato, and Matteo Cairoli joins the number 60 Iron Lynx Lamborghini crew, the yellow car.
Larson, by the way, the silver driver in the Lexus, so there's a change there.
Correct. So those are the 4 changes. And Anthony Davidson, no tyre warmers, not something that you're accustomed to in your later racing career, but certainly from early days, everybody will have been used to that. You don't have tyre warmers in karting.
Yeah, exactly. It's, this is a big challenge for all of the drivers to get out there without tyre warmers. As we see the temperatures just starting to fall down slightly here. It's still very hot, as you said, 20, 25 degrees, but dropping. But once the sunlight starts to go down like it is now, more shaded parts of the track, don't forget, will get cooler quicker than the parts still in the sunlight. So a very different feel for these drivers on the outlap to experience those cold tyres. But once they're up to temperature, the car's going to feel the best it does for the entire weekend. You're on low fuel now. Sometimes you can just put the engine power slightly more if you have that option within your car for qualifying. You might even be able to turn off the air conditioning unit as well, which gives you that extra bit of power, around 10 to 15 horsepower, believe it or not, if you just turn off the aircon, but you're fighting the cockpit temperatures all the time. So it's a balancing act there. But the car will feel good once the tyres are up to temperature. You don't want to have any unnecessary lockups, which is very easy to do, and also spins that we say jokingly, but we do see that quite often in the World Endurance Championship, particularly for the bronze drivers, who are, with all due respect, the lowest graded drivers here, and is a serious challenge.
Also, Hypercar, we're looking at you guys as well later on, because they really do struggle with those cold rear tyres. Now, the other factor here is there's been a couple of times this year where it has been 2 good warm-up laps, and then the real bite in the tyre is coming in on the 2nd push or the 3rd push lap sometimes, and maybe even a 4th push lap. But this is a very abrasive circuit, and that long push is going to start to really destroy their tyres. So
definitely, and it's going to help to warm up the tyres as well, though, initially. So, yeah, the drivers know here, you see them all weaving around, they know that the best laps are really going to come ideally from the 1st push lap or the 2nd. But because you're dealing here in this situation with bronze drivers, they're naturally going to be getting faster as the session goes on as well. So there's a bit of there's that factor to take into account as well. For the pro drivers, they will be able to squeeze that performance out of the tyres straight away, 1st or 2nd lap. But sometimes you see that stagnate or plateau as the driver in this category. It's getting up to speed while the tyres are dropping away. But I'm intrigued to see when we see that drop off here, because all the way through this weekend so far, the degradation has been absolutely chronic, and they're all complaining of losing grip every single lap they drive. So I'm expecting the fast laps to come on lap 2, maybe even lap 3 for these drivers. So it's going to come thick and fast here, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
2 orange and black cars. The second one flashing the headlights. Currently 2nd in the LMGT3 points. Yashir Shaheen and his teammates have won twice this year, including the 24 Hours of Le Mans. They have not had a pole position, but the 91 Manthey EMA car was driven by Alex Malik in the white car. The I beg your pardon, the Manthey Pure Racing car has had a pole position. It's been a win for Thomas Floor as well. That car 54 won in Fuji last time out. They have not started on pole, but Francois Heriot in the 55 sister car has. No pole position yet so far for Ford's Mustang. And what's the other brand that has missed out on pole position? It's Lexus, isn't it? That's correct, yeah.
Different flow to this qualifying session, gentlemen, in LMGT3. It's sort of 50-50 of cars that were out straight away at the start of the session. the rest of the field almost a full lap back here. So they're learning through this season about giving the space and just letting this thing breathe.
Yeah, track management is really critical. As you just saw from Yasser Shaheen, he was overtaking car 91, the orange Porsche, overtaking down the inside, flashing away the McLaren, wasn't he, down the main track? That's not really ideal to start your qualifying attempt by having to overtake into turn 1.
And ready, Koda's ASP's Takeshi Kimura, the car guy, has had a flying lap cancelled. Ryan Hardwick, 77, the turquoise Mustang, looks like he's going to be the first man to set a really competitive quick lap. Faster on the first sector, not on the second sector. Time he's looking to beat 2 minutes 4.6 and 5 seconds away. So it all went away in the second and third sectors.
But P6 for now, and that's good enough if you're looking to get through to Hyperpole.
Sarah Bovey coming to the end of the lap, and she's well outside the time. But watch Josh Cahill in the United Autosports car. He's out there and well up by that side of things, by the look of things, on the current, not pole position time, remember, but the time to go, the top time to go through to Hyperpole.
Yeah, here we are then, next in that final corner on a run up to the main straight.
DRS line we've just passed, finish line we've just passed, and the timing line is right here. And it's 2 minutes 2.3, and that puts him at the top of the pile. This is not guaranteeing him yet a place in the top 10, but it's a good looking start. Maxime Martin on the right and Valentino Rossi on the left. They'll be watching their teammate Ahmed Al-Hati. This is Hiroshi Koizumi for TF Sport. TF Sport's Corvette claimed the first pole position of the season. The other car, driven by Tom van Rompuy, he was on pole position in Qatar, and 8th place at the moment.
Yeah, so he's safe at the moment, and he's done 2 personal bests. You can see there in the sectors below in blue. As we come to the final set of corners, 14 and 15, you want to flow these two together, run out all the way to the outside of the track. There's a bit of an awkward pinch on the exit there through turn 15, so a 2:02.3 at the bottom of your screen. That's the time to beat.
Well, the time to beat is 5 seconds slower than that, 2:07.2, which is 10th place. At the moment, it's not about being top, it's being somewhere in the top 10. So here's our first pole man ever in LMGT3, Tom van Rompuy. Came into the World Championship having raced in the European Le Mans Series, with a lot of experience in prototypes as well as GTs, converted really well, I thought, to the GT3.
Well, he didn't use all the circuit available on the approach to 14 and then ran a little bit wide as a consequence on the exit, but he's in at the moment into Hyperpole, P6 right now for Van Rompuy.
And the moving target is that time per 10th. That's already improved by a full 3 seconds, 2:04.0 now.
Yeah,
the
look,
target to get in to this Hyperpole session.
on the timing tower on the left, as you can see, you have to be within 1.7 seconds of the fastest time. It was previously 4.9, so it is very much a moving target. Thomas Floor, good looking lap to start.
Yeah, it's an important lap for him because he's P13 at the moment. You see the Hyperpole target right at the bottom of your screen there, a 2:04 to beat, so he's not within that on the fastest lap he's set so far, but he's on a much better one this time around. Fastest overall in that first sector, or that first part of the lap. Personal best, and only 500ths down on the fastest lap time set so far, so he should get through here into Hyperpole.
And behind him, Darren Leung, just about clinging on, but Sarah Bovey losing a quick lap. 54, Thomas Floor. This should be enough, should be well enough to put him into maybe the top half dozen. Watch the clock, 2:03, 2:02.3, 2:03.6, yeah, 3/10 away. That's a really good lap from Thomas Floor. And Darren Leung coming across the line. So not quite making it in.
P13 for Leung.
We're now getting into the critical last couple of minutes here, where they've got to deliver this. They've got to hit that 10th place time that is now a 2:03.797 in the hands of Ahmed Al-Hati in the 46 BMW. He's on the bubble, but look at Ryan Hardwick. He's 16th at the moment in the Ford Mustang number 77.
Yeah, and a second away at this point on the lap. That should see him through into the top 10.
For the moment. Sarah Bovey lost her last lap, so the Iron Dames are down in 15th. This could be enough to put Ryan Hardwick into Hyperpole. 2:02.311, 2:03. No, not enough yet. Not enough. 14th place, so a slight improvement. Claudio Schiavone was in 10th last time we saw him complete a lap. He's now down in 14th.
Now 16th. It's all falling away 16th. Here.
Sarabovi's completed her lap to go through into the top 10. James Cottingham behind, looks like he might have enough. He's only 3/10 away at the end of sector 2.
And it wasn't enough for Schiavone either, was it?
That's
Not
dropped
enough.
the WRT 46 car out of Hyperpole at the moment from Armin Al-Harty.
Neither BMW is in. What about James Cottingham?
Here
The
we
McLarens have got stronger and stronger all year long.
P18 at the moment. Is it going to be enough? He's crosses the line.
The time he needs, 2:03.76.
It is.
He's a second inside, 5th fastest. Both McLarens in the top 5.
That drops the D-Station Aston Martin out of the top 10.
BMW are struggling. Darren Leung, British GT champion.
And he's got traffic in the final corner. Traffic in turn 14. That's really going to hinder his lap here.
That was Thomas Floor, I think, heading back into the pit lane.
Oh, I think that would have cost him dearly. At least half a second there was thrown away, or more, I should think.
He's got to be within 1.3. He was 9/10 away, 12th, not enough.
Oh, surely he would have done it. Take off at least, like I say, another half second of his lap. He would have been through there to the top 10. I think Valentino Rossi knows that as well, as he's such an experienced racer, both on 2 and 4 wheels himself. He knew exactly what that would have cost in that final corner for any driver.
Armin Al-Harty, by the way, in Valentino's car, has just come back out of the pits. He's not going to make it round to start a flying lap.
No, BMW in all sorts of trouble. Takeshi Kimura, this is going to be very interesting. Only 2/10 away in the first sector. It's such a slow, short first sector. It's probably easier to keep in touch.
All about this lap then, sorry, Graham.
Yeah, it's this lap or nothing. Takeshi Kimura missed out by 1 place in the European Le Mans Series title race a couple of weekends ago, and now battling again to try to get into Hyperpole.
So end of the second sector, 1.7 seconds down. And I don't think this is going to be enough, even though he's done 2 personal bests here. Looks tidy enough, but maybe just not carrying enough speed towards those apexes, the middle of the corner. Exits turn 13.
Maybe the Lexus makes its speed in different parts of the lap compared to the mid and rear engine cars, being a front engine V8, but he needs something very magical in this final sector.
It's like I was saying, you know, it's not the time to be performing as your best as a driver, because the tyres are way past their best at this stage in qualifying. Is it going to be enough? The clock's still ticking.
Only one Lexus will be in the top 10, either 78 or 87, and he doesn't bump out the sister car, so it is the 78 that goes through.
Well, they've topped 2 of the 3 free practice sessions and was second in the 3rd free practice session, but it's not gone the way they hoped for in qualifying so far. Just one of those cars through. What can Darren Leung do?
Yeah, with both WRTs still, 12th, 13th. We do pick up Leung in that final corner.
Well, Anthony, you said, you know, the tyres will be going away faster than the driver can compensate. Oh!
So close.
Stays
so
in
close.
12th.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing, isn't it? Driver puts the lap together, tyres aren't there hanging on anymore. So, too much. It's too much to come from the driver, too much to ask is what I'm trying to say, from the state of the tyres. And that's the game you're playing with the bronze drivers. It takes them more time to get up to speed than it does the pro drivers.
So neither BMW making Hyperpole, neither of the Mustangs making Hyperpole. These stations, Aston Martin, the Monza EMA car that topped the session early on, finishes 14th in that session. That car is out. 87 Lexus, as we've just seen, and the number 60 Iron Lynx Lamborghini. They are the cars that will not be joining us for the latter session. Top 10 though, United Autosports, cracking run there from Josh Cahill. Francois Arroyo, who was pole position last time out, was he not, for the 55 Ferrari, fought in trouble very early in the race. Sarabovi 3rd, so not adding to her pole position tally for the year. Race winner Thomas Fleur is fourth. I apologise, of course she could, because it's Hyperpole.
Don't peak too soon, it's only Hyperpole.
Absolutely. Thomas Fleur, the 54 Ferrari, so both Ferraris in the top 4 in that session. Both McLaren's in the top 5, because James Cottingham's next up for United Autosports. Also, both of the Corvettes in. Roshi Kazumi, great qualifying there from him. He finishes that session in 6th. Ian James and Heart of Racing, the solo Aston Martin, through to the second session, the Hyperpole session. he's 7th. Montai Pure Racing are champions, already 8th, just under 9/10 off. Then the second of those TF Sports cars in the hands of Tom Van Rompuy, and squeezing in at the end there, a Codius ASP's 78 Lexus in the hands of Arnaud Robin. They are the 10 cars, gentlemen, that will progress to the final Hyperpole 2024.
Ford won't get a pole position this season. Lexus still might, because they have one bullet in the gun in the top 10. So, yeah, we've had pole positions from Corvette, from Porsche, Lamborghini, McLaren, Aston Martin and Ferrari. And so now the drivers who are going through into Hyperpole will stay in the car and wait for their fresh set of tyres to arrive.
With Giorgio Roda down in the pits. It's hot out there, it looks hot. How did it go for you? Obviously not so well. Do you think you can recover from here? And can you take us through quickly what happened in your qualifying?
Yeah, here it's tough, it's hot for the car, for the tires. The hardest thing is to manage the tires lifetime, because after 2 laps the tires dies, and it's gonna be tough in the race, because here we just did 2 laps in qualifying with new tires and low fuel, and it's gonna be really even tougher in the race with the high fuel and double stint the tires, or also triple stint some tires we need to manage, because it's 8 hours race. To recover from our position, I hope so, because it's not where we wanted to be. We knew it wouldn't be hard, honestly not that hard, but it is what it is. It's the same for everybody with the hot and the tires, so which is nothing we can do. I think we got, me and Ryan did the maximum out of the cars and of this circuit, so let's keep the finger crossed and let's hope for a better race tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anthony, it's 8 hours. Does qualifying really matter?
It's a good question. I think it matters a lot for your CV, your personal pride. For an 8-hour race, it definitely matters less than a 6-hour race. But I think what it does do, it helps you to stay out of trouble in the first corner if you can be right at the front. But yeah, in terms of, this is a unique circuit in terms of how aggressive the tyre wear is. And that's going to be the main thing that scores you the points in the race, not your qualifying.
Well, let's get down to the BMW garage. Catch up with Sean Galale from the 31 car.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a quick word with Sean Galale from the 31 BMW. Unfortunately, neither car's making it through.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it looks better than we were in FP3, so we'll take it. He was only a 10th off going to Hyperpole, and he was impeded a bit in the last corner. So, no, I think Darren did a good job. Hopefully tomorrow it comes more to us during the race. It's going to be tough, to be honest, but the guy second in the championship is behind us, and not so far from the Aston in 4th, so we'll try our best, we'll see.
Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
Those guys are 3rd in the point standings. Neither of the BMWs made it into Hyperpole in Fuji. And actually, it's been the 31 car that has been the more frequent visitor to Hyperpole. That's why they're ahead of their teammates in the standings, well, partly.
Got to say, Darren Leon was very unlucky catching the traffic where he did, and you called it completely correctly. That cost him more than a 10th.
Oh, definitely. I think Sean was playing that down there. It wasn't just a bit of lap time. That basically would have seen him through. When you know how close it was, that 10th or 2 tenths away, he definitely lost more than that in that one corner.
Just saw the blue Aston, heart of racing, Aston Martin of Ian James, pole sitter at home, or at the home race for the team in Cota. He's lived in America for more than 30 years. Born and bred in the UK, still sounds British, but very much a proud American citizen as well. And Sarah Bovey going for the hat-trick, well, not a hat-trick, but for a 3rd pole position tilt. And, there's always the possibility there. It's not been the quickest car so far, but then maybe her better lap might have been the one where she exceeded track limits. And Takeshi Kimura just missing out as well. He lost his first flying lap because of track limits. Those are the only 2 that went astray.
Final qualifying chapter of the season then for LMGT3. New chapters to be written next season. Catch up with us during the race tomorrow. We've got a lot more time to talk about some of the changes we know are coming. And there can be a lot more besides that we don't know about yet.
right now. This is all about the drivers that have just been out there, that top 10 that were lucky enough or good enough to make it through. Now they've got to think about how do you extract even more performance, try and put that lap together. That's so hard to do around this track. It's such a technical, tight circuit where you have to maximise the braking, make sure you bring those tyres in just at the right time. We saw many fall foul of that in that first session, trying to get through the hyperpole. Now you're through. You've got warm brakes, of course, that will heat transfer, heat soak into the wheels, therefore into the air inside the tyres, and the tyre will start to warm up faster than it was when they were just sitting there stone cold before going out for the first run. Things will start to happen much more quickly this time around. Drivers more in the groove, but you've got to iron out all those little problems that were plaguing you through that first, or potentially through that first round. And they need to happen faster because the session is 2 minutes shorter as well. So effectively one lap fewer that you've got to play with. So Aston Martin with Ian James, 2 Ferraris, Thomas Floor and Francois Heriot. Heriot has been on pole, Ian James has been on pole. Both McLarens, James Cottingham and Josh Cahill, neither have yet been on pole. One of the Lexus, Arnaud Robin. TF Sports, Tom von Rompuy, we're just running with him. Our first LMGT3 pole sitter. Could he round out the season with a second full Corvette? I know he'd like that. Hiroshi Koizumi in the other Corvette. And then you've got the champion, Alex Malikin. He was on pole position in Imola for Manthey Pure Racing. He's back in the top 10 again now. And Iron Dames Sarabovi, the only currently 2-time pole sitter this season. And always in the frame, Sarabovi, always. So which car driver combination's coming out on top here? This is always so hard to call. It is hard to call, and the order that we had through that knockout round, just getting through to the top 10, isn't by far the order you're going to have when it comes to this. There's a crunch time now for that much coveted pole position. Now we can talk about pole position for tomorrow's race. We've done the knockout round. Now it's all down to this top 10, but I can't call who this is going to be. We haven't been able to all year long. I mean, genuinely, TF Sport, first time they'd run the Corvette GT3, first time they've been in Qatar, boom, pole position. You know, that was a big result personally for Tom van Rompuy because, you know, the team got the car underneath him, but he produced a fantastic result. Mike Pickup there in the garage at TF Sport, works with Tom Ferrier, formerly the team boss of PK Sport, very successful Porsche operators.
That's the homemade banner they've made celebrating their love for Mike Pickup up in the grandstands beyond. And
is he not celebrating his 45th birthday?
He's 168 years old today, Mike.
Oh dear, Tom van Rompuy loses the lap before he completes it for track limits. So that will have been either at turn 10, the tight hairpin, or at turn 13. Oh, before that, turn 2. Hiroshi Koizumi, the 82 TF Sport Corvette. Yeah, this is Koizumi now working his way through turn 10. So usually in turn 10 you don't get pinged for track limits because the curb is so rough on the exit. He's backed out of this lap, as Koizumi. But yeah, because of that, see the extreme curve, it's like a double tier curb on the exit of 10. Because you're going slow speed, you really daren't use too much curb there. It just gets in the way of your traction, and the last thing you want is any excess wheel spin. Where you usually get pinged for track limits here used to be on the exit of turn 4. I don't know whether it's still possible with that new gravel trap there to actually go all 4 wheels off over the white line. I haven't seen it in enough detail yet. But this is another one, turn 13, where you're carrying a bit more speed. You can see the rubber lines on the exit of the curb. It kind of goads you into carrying too much speed and running out too wide. But yeah, turn 2, the GT cars can run out very wide there after turn 1, trying to carry the speed up the hill to 4. Olivier Panis, you just saw in the garage there, team owner, of course, of his own outfit, Panis Racing. Panis Barthez, as was in the European Le Mans Series.
He's here because his son will be driving this car in the rookie test here on Saturday race, remember, for the FIA World Endurance Championship season closer.
Aurelien Panis would fit in really well here. He's a very competitive driver. He's quick, he's aggressive, he's intelligent. Can't imagine where all of that came from, can you? Having known his dad racing, he was very similar. But Aurelien, already a World Championship competitor in World Touring Cars. He's raced an awful lot of GTs recently. I think he'd be a great addition. Now then, let's talk about some lap times. Sarah Bovey coming across the line, but at the moment this is sort of a sighter, really.
First properly competitive lap time to top the chart, if you like, to come from James Cottingham. It's a 2:02.2. So United Autosport's other McLaren now tops the session. Josh Cahill, who topped the qualifying session, come into this very quickly.
Yeah, you can see on the blue dot at the bottom of your screen, just working his way to the end of that second sector. When it gets there, we'll see how his time is doing at the moment. Above, he's faster than that's Van Rompuy now, faster than the fastest set, but no, loses time. Not even a personal best through that second sector for Van Rompuy as he works his way through turn 13. Josh Cahill still behind on a much better lap, so he's now 3/10 above that fastest lap. He's down in P6 at the moment, but he's on for a much better lap time this time around. But this is Van Rompuy in the Corvette that we're watching through into turn 14.
And in sector 2, Van Rompuy dropped from 6400s up to 6/10 back, whereas Josh Cahill has actually improved his advantage. So Van Rompuy, top time, 2:02.23, and he's a second away, but fourth quickest. Here comes Josh Cahill. This could be the fastest lap that we've seen so far, and
yes,
it is.
Done it. Look at that, only just.
2 thousandths over his teammates.
But watch for Bovey.
500s up. This is going to be close.
It will be close. So storming first sector, but losing a little bit of time by the time she's got to the second sector. It's all about this third sector for her. P4 at the moment, as she got the sun in her eyes down towards that final couple of corners, 14 and 15. Looks good on the break-in, turns the car in nicely, runs it right up to the curb on the exit of 15. Now it's that drag race to that finish line. A 2:02.2 to beat. What's it going to be? She crosses the line. A 2:02.6, not quite enough. It's P3 for Bovey right now.
United Autosports 1-2 in the McLarens. Then it's the Iron Dames in the bright pink Lamborghini. And here comes the Vista AF Corsa Ferrari of François Heriot. He's in the bubble here. Fourth at this point. Goes up to third. Edges the Lamborghini back by one position.
Alex Malikin in the Pure Racing Porsche, 1300s back, down to 4/10 away. The tyres have gone. That's not going to come back, is it? But Hiroshi Koizumi for TF Sport. Koizumi currently down in 7th place behind teammate Tom Van Rompuy. Malikin 4/10 away out of sector 2. That's not coming back unless he knows a really good shortcut.
Yeah, he's going to need a really shiny third sector, isn't he? But I don't think that's going to come. Don't forget he's carrying a lot of success ballast on that car, at least 15 kilos more for leading the championship. 2:02.2 to beat, crosses the line, 2:02.6, 4/10 away to go P5 at the moment. But we're going to see, here we are. He lost a lot of time, has Koizumi. A second down by the time he's got to the second sector.
Tell you, François Heriot in his pursuit to pole position, track limits in sector 1. It's not going to be done on this lap. He may not have enough time to get another in.
Arnaud Robin in the 78 Lexus, also track limits on this lap. Koizumi a second away, that's not happening. Again, he needs the TARDIS to get him across the line faster. And is there any point staying out another minute? Has he got anything left in the tyres? You sort of think not, don't you really? 2 minutes 3.5, he's gone from 1 to 1.4 seconds away. I'm really surprised they didn't just say, box, 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 come on in. Because we won't have to use these tyres in the race, of course.
James Cottingham, in other words, given up on this lap. It's 2 thousandths per second, the gap first to second. 2 thousandths per second between the two McLarens.
Thomas Floor for AF Corsa may improve on 10th place. Alex Malikin, is he going to improve on 5th place? Ahead of the Iron Dames, it's very close. Look at the gap between the Iron Dames in 4th, 0.435 back, and Malikin 0.441 back. From 10th place, this might be top 6 for Thomas Floor, and that would be a great qualifying run from him. 7th place.
Yeah, decent lap. And to do it so late in the session as well, pretty impressive stuff there by Floor.
Good lap from Malikin underway here.
Yeah, just 3/10 down by the second sector to be right on board down towards that final couple of corners. Great just before the 100-meter board. The car squirreling around there. You can see the rear not happy under the brakes. But a nice exit there for Malikin.
He
What's
needs
it going to be?
7 thousandths to move up to 4th. That's all he needs to improve by to get ahead of the Iron Dames.
Stays P5,
Yep.
5/10 down. He's tried everything he could, but you could see just falling away there. Not even a personal best third sector for him.
And he's the first to take the checkered flag up at the moment. You keep watching here on a Raban through here. Francois Herio's not given this up.
Ooh.
He's up. And then this could be an interesting lap from Francois Herio. What's he kept on in the tyres underneath his Ferrari?
Well, we're watching Arnaud Robin here in the Lexus, but the 55 Ferrari, Francois Herio is the only person left with a chance of a second pole this season. And like unlike Sarabova, it would be 2 in a row, having been on pole last time out. So he is currently up on the pole time. Arnaud Robin, will he improve on 10th position? He's 1.2 away, so anything better than a 2-minute 1? No, not enough.
It's a single second separating these 10, but watch both the Ferraris here. They're both on pretty quick laps, although Thomas Fleur has just dropped a lot of time in the middle sector. But worth keeping an eye here on Francois Herio, our pole position sitter last time out.
If he can be within 4 tenths at the line, that will jump him up onto row 2 of the grid alongside, well, with his own time.
He stays P3, almost 5/10 down is Herio. And yeah, he lost just that further 10th, didn't he, in that final sector. The tyres have cried enough. They've used all the juice from them. And 1.3 down for Thomas Fleur as well. He lost too much time in that second sector.
But that is a first pole position for United Autosports, a second pole position for McLaren this season.
Has anybody else locked out the front row in qualifying?
I'll go and check that one, but not
Bear with, caller, bear with.
But that's a big result today for United Autosports and McLaren.
What a turnaround they have effected this season, from a car that couldn't find pace with a torch and a map in Qatar to locking out the front row at the end of their first year. That's an astonishing indictment of how hard they've worked with that car.
And what a place to do it as well, on home ground here in Bahrain.
Yep, absolutely so.
They've got a factory just literally a stone's throw away, isn't it, from where we're standing right here in the commentary box. So a great effort by the McLaren team here and United Autosport.
And that's only going to encourage them to write the next chapter. Watch this space.
So Josh Cahill, pole position by 2 whopping thousandths, and the first man in Papaya to give him congratulations is his own teammate James Cottingham. That is a massive, there's Josh's dad in the stripy shirt in the garage. That's a massive, massive result for McLaren and for United Autosport. Well, finishing in 4th place, the Iron Dames. Let's catch up with Michel Gatting.
I am with Michel Gatting with the 85 Lamborghini of Iron Dame. Not a perfect qualifying, but yet still a pretty strong result.
Yeah, we know that we have been qualifying the car quite a lot in front this year, and it didn't bring us much either. So today, honestly, hats off to McLaren. They were just better. Tomorrow we will try to be better than them.
Good luck, Ben.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, to answer my own question, the nearest to a 1-2 that anybody has got in LMGT3 qualifying is 1st and 8th.
Wow. Well, United Autosports have blown that record sky high. And 2 thousandths of a second the gap. James Cottingham is going to be wondering, where did I lose those 2 thousandths?
That's woeful. Woeful. That is absolutely... First of all, it just underlines how competitive the class is, that you've got all the top 10 within barely a second of each other, and you've got 6 different manufacturers in there.
Yeah, big turnaround still, by the way, from Ferrari. We've not seen them on form through most of this season. It's coming towards the end of this year in a squad that we expect to see quite a lot of stability moving into 24-25.
Okay, and now, Hypercar coming up. Time to take a quick chill pill. Because the one thing about Hyperpole is we get more hyper than the Hypercars. Well, the sun is starting to head down below the yard arm here in Bahrain, and the temperature of the air definitely drops really quickly. It goes from being quite a hot day to a really nice warm evening. But the track temperature will remain pretty resilient as the cars go out. It's a fairly short sequence again. The entire 18-car field will head out for a 12-minute full field session, and then Hyperpole, the top 10 go through into that 10-minute Hyperpole session. And as with the LMGT3 cars, it effectively means that with hot brakes and tyres going on cold, you have a slightly shorter warm-up, but you do have one less lap time to play with. Not that fewer of your laps count, there is just the time that it would take you to do one lap less in the session.
Gentlemen, so many storylines in this astonishing hypercar field this season, but one of the biggest is that it's just getting more competitive. You know, at the start of this season, we could have had a list of cars we'd expected to be on pole position that numbered maybe 3 or 4. Now, honestly, throw a blanket over more than half the field. It's been an astonishing progress from these teams. This is what you get with motorsport at this level, in factory level motorsport, is that they're just finding better and better ways of squeezing more out of the package.
This has been the car crew to beat. Car number 6 leads the way, almost across the line, aren't they, before coming here to the final race. They almost did it in Fuji, but a few more points to gain for them before they can take all the glory.
That man, Kevin Esch, is the only man in the car crew who has taken a pole position this year, and that was at Le Mans, and the end result was they didn't win.
It's quite often the way in Le Mans, actually, but what a lap that was. Let's not take that away from Kevin Estre at all. That lap was one that everyone will remember for quite some time. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth going back and having a look. It is definitely something to behold.
When we saw initially this hypercar this hyperpole formula revealed, there's a degree of cynicism about it. All I can tell you is that every time we saw it at Le Mans, and now we've seen it unroll into the FIWC, it just gets better and better.
100%. It was pure entertainment at Le Mans, and it gets better. So 3 options of Michelin tyre, soft, medium and hard. They've brought the medium and the hard here. And Anthony, unlike Formula 1, you don't have to use both sets in the race. You can choose whichever you want. You could live the whole race on hards or on mediums, or combine them across the car or in different stints. There's no hard and fast rule with that.
Yeah, you can chop and change them as well. You can have you have an old left front if you wanted, and a brand new right rear. One a medium compound, one a hard compound. Chop and change them how you want, and we see that quite often in hypercars. So that's the beauty of having the options of 2 different options in our championship. You have all 3 available in Le Mans, but only 2 options available for the rest of the championship.
Well, we can see a Peugeot here on mediums. We just saw hards going on to one of the Ferraris. Louise Beckett with her notebook down in pit lane. Who's got what?
Well, I can see Toyotas, Porsches and Cadillacs all on mediums. The rest on hard from my half of the pit lane. I'm going to have to come back to you to see who fields through and what they've got for the rest.
All right.
Remember, there's a 12-minute session to determine the 10 in Hyperpole, and then we'll go back down to Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce Joanny.
Yeah, from the other end of the pit lane, I just saw the Alpine are fully on medium, and it's the same for the Peugeots.
It's interesting hearing the drivers talk amongst each other. How did you make softs last, blah, blah, blah? Or, look, yeah, but never mind that. What's the speed you can do on hard tyres? It's interesting the way the cars treat their tyres.
We are under 1 minute to start qualifying for hypercars. We are under 1 minute to start qualifying for hypercars. Please remind drivers of the need to respect track limits.
Porsche, Penske Motorsport, have had 3 pole positions this year. They haven't won from any of them, or at least the pole-sitting car hasn't won from any of them.
Under 30 seconds to open pit exit.
Cadillac double up. That would be something, wouldn't it?
That would be impressive. We'll have to talk about the duck during the race. There is a duck story.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hypercar qualifying session has started.
So far this season, only one car has won from pole position. 27 Harter Racing Aston Martin in Cota. No hypercar pole sitter has won the race.
That's an
no
astonishing
LMGT3
statistic.
pole sitter has won the race other than Ian James.
That is an astonishing statistic.
I know, and why did I not look at that before? Now, we've had one Porsche on pole and its sister car winning. We've had a Ferrari on pole and its sister car winning, but only one car, in what have we had so far? 14 starts across the two classes, has won from pole position. So, yes, it's great, but no, it's not everything.
There is one combination, by the way, over the next two sessions, qualifying here and then Hyperpole, that could have championship implications, and that is if Toyota set pole, sorry, my apologies, if the number 6 sets pole, the 7th Toyota cannot win the championship.
In terms of drivers, as opposed to
drivers,
the manufacturers, correct. Yes, so we are at the position in the season, and it is the last race, so we have to be, where we start to eliminate people. Graham, quick championship standings.
Well, in the Drivers' Championship, it's reasonably simple. Needing a finish, but needing that luck to do that. It is the number 6 crew, Kevin Estre, Andre Lotter, Lawrence VanEur, 150 points to the good at the moment, ahead of the number 50 Ferrari crew, and they lead them by 35 points. Remember, 38 points for the race, and 1 point for pole position because it's an 8-hour race. The 50 crew of Antonio Fuoco, Miguel Molina and Nick Nielsen, they're on 115. 2 points further back and therefore vulnerable in the next session in Hyperpole are the number 7 Toyota, and that in particular here is two drivers. It's Kamui Kobayashi and Nick De Vries.
Well, critically vulnerable in this session because they've got to get into
certainly do.
Hyperpole. So
Perfectly correct.
they've got to qualify from this one first. I was just about to say, critically, the number 50 Ferrari, that did not go out in FP3 because it had a front motor generator unit problem, has left the pit lane. So it is at least moving, which is a big improvement on just before lunch.
Yeah, they only completed 7 laps, didn't they?
They did,
yeah. As a total in FP3, so lost out a lot of valuable track time. And luckily, they got 2 other cars, one of the works car, the Air Course ran car, the yellow Ferrari that you'll see out there, number 83. They could spread the workload between the 2 of those cars. And luckily, they had other cars out there that could help, but for the drivers, they lost some critical running there, some critical track time.
So remember, if you are following this session with us on the live timing online or on the app, the critical time here is 10th. Yes, they want the glory of topping this session, but the critical time here to go through the Hyperpole is 10th.
This is the one time in motor racing where good enough is good enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do exactly
because
what
actually,
you mean.
anywhere in the top 10 doesn't matter. Below that really doesn't matter.
Yeah, you know, you've got to get the banker lap in there, of course, but you see the cars weaving around in desperation to get the well, for the Toyotas at least, the medium compound up to temperature as much as they can. And you're going to see this happen quicker than what we saw in the LMGT3 category, because these drivers are going to exploit the grip from the tyre much, much quicker. Riding on board here with Brendan Hartley, he has his teammate in front of him as they head round turn 13 towards the final couple of corners.
Look how quickly the light is fading. We just saw that side shot of the Toyota, and the illuminated back illuminated panel is really clearly bright. It's 4:45. We're racing from midday till 8, so it's going to be a lot of darkness.
So Toyotas lead the way in terms of track position. That's why you see them at the top of your times at the moment. Number 8, yeah, now split with car number 6. And things are going to get very exciting rapidly as now they're definitely on a push lap.
Yeah, it's this lap really, isn't it, that you're going to start to see where the pace is and potentially where we might get these positions set. It's got to be done. It's got to be done now.
Yeah, I think you're going to say the same thing as me, but this is actually a car to watch. They were fastest in, the Peugeot team were fastest in FP1. They had a bit of a race look in FP2, so they were right at the bottom of the timesheets. But in FP3, topped the timesheets once again. This is some vigorous weaving around from the car 94 and really crashed into the ground as a result of that. You got the tunnel under the track at that part, and it caused that subsidence.
That bump is getting more pronounced year by year, without a doubt. And offline, it's particularly taxing.
Here we go then. Purples all around for everyone in that first sector. And, but you're seeing some extreme gains here because of the warm-up laps that they're doing before. So 3 seconds up for Brendan Hartley. So let's see how this all shakes out after the first attack lap, as other cars here jostling for position before they open their laps up.
As the Toyotas come out of corner 13 down the long back straight, they have got the Cadillac and a bunch of other slower cars in front who are just starting quick laps. John-Eric Van, 6th fastest, 7 Toyota and the 8 Toyota.
So 8 is the first, yeah, 8's first on track. That's Brendan Hartley. No, sorry, Nick de Vries was first on track, so yeah. Fastest for the moment, and second goes Brendan Hartley. So now we got some real lap times on the board, a 1:47.5.
And Hartley 2/10 back, none of your 2000s in LMGT3 just yet. Hertz Team Jota third, their final outing with Porsches, because Jota will be running a 2-car Cadillac factory operation next year, on board with Mick Schumacher. Gianni ahead of him on the road in the 99 Proton competition Porsche.
Really bouncing around, wasn't he, on that bump before committing to turn 9, and then the rear not really there for him when he gets on power on the exit of turn 10. So Mick Schumacher already 4/10 down on the fastest time set by the Toyotas of Nick de Vries just after that first sector. As he comes up through turn 11 and into 12, you're going to see that change as he gets to the end of this second sector for Mick Schumacher. And lost a bit more time there, almost 8/10 down by that point in the lap.
And the time to beat at the bottom line there, 1:59.5, that's the time of the other Alpine, the 35 Alpine, which at the moment is in the top 10. The 2 Toyotas still pushing on, but in traffic now, so don't expect an improvement from them in a hurry. Here's 99 Neil Gianni, got to beat a 1:59.5, gets a 48.3. So happily in at the moment, but that goalpost is moving.
It's going to be under 150, that goalpost, and soon.
Yeah, Schumacher through at the moment, P7 for now, but it's changing all the time. Habsburg, P6 in the number 35 Alpine. Lost a lot of time in that third sector. It was a second down by the time he finished his lap. So I don't know what happened there in sector 3.
In a little bit of a knot of cars. Here's the number 6 Porsche, currently not in, 9 seconds away. So Kevin Escher hasn't set a competitive time yet. This will be.
Yeah, comfortably in P4 for now. He had a 54 to beat. And yeah, comfortably there. They took 2 warm-up laps, by the way, number 6.
Yeah, first the big guns that were in trouble, if you can put it that way, that have pushed away those demons. Both of, in fact, I think all 3 Ferraris outside the top 10 at the moment. Under 4 minutes to go. Needs to happen now.
Well, look at the Ferraris. They haven't put in even one quick lap. You don't end up with a quick lap 13 seconds away. Louise Beckett?
I can tell you that all 3 Ferraris came in and switched from hard to medium tyres.
Yeah,
Same with BMWs.
Thank you, not surprised at all. 15 BMW is already coming towards the line. Dries van Toor.
Yeah, Danik Fiat we're looking at here in the Lamborghini car 63. Decent first sector for him. 1.5 down. What's he going to be in sector 2? He's got a bit of traffic heading towards turn 13, but he's still on a pretty decent lap here, 5/10 away. And they look quite competitive as well. He was P3 or P4 in FP3. So yeah, Danik Fiat and that Lamborghini working well around this circuit as the Alpine does the right thing and moves over offline.
Alpine made, Lamborghini made it into Hyperpole for the first time. Last time in Fuji was 9th quickest. And this looks like it might be enough to get him into the top 10 at the moment, but 2 Ferraris remain outside. He is in the top 10 at the moment, and the 93 Peugeot now on the bubble as Antonio Fuoco improves his chances of moving through, and 83 moves up as well, the Lamborghini out. And the 50 Ferrari also into the top 10, so...
Both Peugeots now out of the top 10, 2.5 minutes to go. and it's all beginning to get very hot very quickly.
It's because the Ferraris have made such good progress, and they're getting through. You've got the AF Corsa, number 83 in 9th position. Porsche Penske number 5 just pops into P7 there as well. The lap chart changing all the time as we now look towards Robin Freins, P17 currently. Is this going to be enough for him as he comes up to the line? Yes, it is. He goes P3, safe for now.
The number 2 Cadillac has disappeared entirely. Its only fast lap has been disallowed.
Yeah, this is Van Tor now into the final corner. He's half a second down. It might just be enough. Has he lost anything through turn 14? It looked pretty clean to me. 48.2 to beat to get through Hyperpole.
Yep.
Yeah, P8, just enough.
But all of this is shuffling other cars out of the top 10, including both Alpines that have been fantastically quick in the latter part of this season, and both Peugeots.
On the cusp here, isn't it, for Mick Schumacher? This is a very important lap. What's he going to be by the end of Sector 2? Oh, he's somewhere close enough, but I don't think it will be enough for him. He needs an exceptional Sector 3, and you could see there really on the power as he turned the car through turn 13. The wind behind you there, sliding all the way around, a sure sign these tyres are crying enough. Will it be enough for Mick Schumacher? Through turn 14 and 15 he goes. He's too wide and he's off the track, and that's it. It's gone. P17 for the Alpine. Mick Schumacher and the team know it.
A car that does not look to be in Hyperpole. His last time out, pole position sitter, bottom of the times for the Cadillac. But what's going on here, Adam?
The other Alpine's got traffic as well. The car 83 completely impeding before that final corner. And it was so close for Habsburg. He lost the hemorrhage lap time there because of the 83's entry to the final corner. And it's not going to be enough for Habsburg. P13 for him. Both Alpines not making it through, and we're looking at this replay of Schumacher. He knew it was all about Sector 3 like I did. That's why he pushed so hard in 13. That's why he pushed so hard in 14. He gave it everything he could, but it just looked like the car didn't have it for him today.
I'm just going to revise what I just said because Alex Lynn did get across the line and will get one more lap to improve on 18th place. So from hero to not quite zero from 2 qualifying sessions. But what's happening with the 83 car?
Well, they're out at the moment, aren't they? Down in P12. You can see on the graphic on the left-hand side, and that's why he was trying to optimise his exit through turn 15. It's just a make or break lap here for Yiye. 2.5 tenths down though, and not even a personal best through that first sector. And on top of that, oh, he's got his teammate has led him through, car number 50. I was just about to say he's got traffic. Oh, there's an Alpine running wide as well. This is all going on for Yiye, isn't it? It's like, can you concentrate with all this thrown at you? I don't know. And also the tyres going away from him as we continue to look at the Lamborghini of Danny Kvyat, and he's on the cusp as well, only 2.5 tenths away through Sector 1. Not a personal best though. I feel like it's a bit too late for these guys.
If you're in the Proton competition garage, you're holding your breath at the moment. And what about our championship leaders? The number 6 Porsche, not safe. Alex Lynn with a good lap coming. Yiye too far out in Sector 2. Danny Kvyat might yet. And the 63 Lamborghini is outside, but Lynn could fire, two cars we need to go quicker to fire out the number 6 Proton Porsche.
So here comes Danny Kvyat. Will this one be enough as Yiye comes into the pits? He's had enough of that. P15 still remains on the board for Kvyat. Now it's all about Alex Lynn, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It's 6 tenths the gap to P10 to get through to Hyperpole. I'm sure this isn't going to be enough for Lynn. Has he pulled out some magic in the final sector? I doubt it. It's not enough. It's P13.
Traffic again on that final lap, and that's pretty much a disaster for the Cadillac effort. In qualifying at least, they're not going to make Hyperpole. That is the end of the session. Everybody that can pass the line has passed the line, and it is going to be the Cota does go through to this race with a shot of winning the title.
Only once has Cadillac failed to make it through into Hyperpole, and that was in Imola. They were 12th there, but they have been on the front row or in the top 4 for the last 5 races in a row.
But this is surely the story, isn't it? Peugeot. They've been so up and down all the way through this week so far. They had smiles in their faces after FP3. They were fastest in FP1. Yeah, sure, FP2 didn't look that great for them, but they assured us they were focusing on race pace. Maybe that's hindered their performance in qualifying, making a car that's better in the race pace, and you sacrifice that qualifying performance. But for me, that's the real story of qualifying. What happened to Peugeot?
Yeah, that's a tough break for them.
Lamborghini 2, long faces there as well.
Well, I think the big surprise really is Cadillac and that lost lap for Alex Lynn, or those 2 lost laps for Alex Lynn, I think it was, definitely hindering them. 6 make it through by the skin of their teeth, 9th in the top 10, so they also have a chance of starting at the sharp end.
This is the top 10. It is Total Gazoo Racing topping the times 1:47.498 for the championship, contending 7 car, then the 51 Ferrari, the 20 BMW, the second Tota, 4th quickest, the second BMW, 5th quickest, then the only Hertz Team Jota Porsche in their final race with those cars to make it through to Hyperpole. Porsche Penske Motorsport got both their cars through, 7th and 9th. The second factory Ferrari is 8th, and Proton Competition make it 2 privateer Porsches into Hyperpole.
Yep. Jota's 38 didn't make it through. The 83 Ferrari didn't make it through. The Caddy, neither of the Peugeots or either of the Alpines. So Ferdi Habsburg didn't get through, nor did Mick Schumacher.
They looked stellar in the last couple of races, so that's a big surprise.
Well, racing is different from qualifying. Well, there's no time to make big adjustments between the sessions. We'll try and catch up with Ferdi in a moment or two. He's always lucid in his thoughts.
Ferdinand, it was, yeah, you looked competitive at some stage, and until the last corner, maybe with the Ferrari, you were impeded a little bit. I don't know if this actually damaged your lap, but how did it go out there?
Yeah, I think still the first lap would have been my best in reality. The second lap, I was trying to improve, but I didn't quite get the chance. Still, it would have been tricky to have improved. I'm really joyful because obviously I started the year with a broken back and in my bed, and to finish it with a qualifying in Bahrain and being here with Alpine is super special for me. But obviously P13 is still, I was hoping for pole position, of course, like all of us, but I've got a whole next year ahead of me of trying to do that. So for now, I take it, and my teammates will do a great job in tomorrow's race with me.
Do you think you can do something in the race?
Yeah, for sure. We've been trying so hardest in our FPs to get a nice long run pace, so I think that's been our priority. I'm sure the others have been doing the same, but I felt confident out there on the long runs. I felt confident on the short runs as well, but that's just because the team's been giving me the chance. So I hope we will make it exciting, put it like that.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
I know he'll want to shout out his sister, who has been his rock during his recovery from, as you say, basically being barely able to move in a back brace. There's Alex Lynn debriefing after qualifying that didn't yield what they weren't quite as close as they were at Le Mans, were they, with Sebastian Bourdais, but it didn't yield what they'd hoped for.
That was a great debrief, though, wasn't it, from Ferdinand Habsburg? That's the complexities of the competition you have now in Hypercar and how you get the best out of yourself and out of the equipment. And he's saying, basically, when I was peaking there, the car wasn't quite ready and the tyres weren't ready, and I basically just didn't put it all together. But I've got confidence that we have race pace for tomorrow. That's the main thing. So now, I know we saw quite a big discrepancy between the 2 Ferraris, for example, the 51 car and the 50, separated by 6 or 7 tenths there. Maybe a little bit less, 5 or 6 tenths perhaps, but still a big difference, a bigger margin than you'd expect. And it's all about how you get the best out of the tyre when it's cold, but it yields the best grip. And that's the trick that all of these drivers are trying to balance right now.
Just see the hose there leading into Neil Gianni's helmet, and that's to help cool the brain. Bit of airflow going through there. Well, just as well, potentially, that Peugeot didn't get either of their cars, or at least not their 93 car, because they're being investigated for a technical infringement in qualifying. That normally means a little bit of overpower production, and that normally means the hybrid system. Let's hear from the Toyota team.
Hey, Brendan, track temp has fallen as expected. So we're down to 30 degrees now. Wind has calmed down a bit as well, 7 kph, same direction.
All right, that's not even dinghy sailing weather. That's what, 2 knots. That's almost negligible for wind.
So 8 hours and 10 minutes of track time left in this season, gentlemen. And it's this 10 minutes that's going to be extremely exciting.
And then the 8 hours.
And then the 8 hours.
Yes. A small factor of the 8-hour race that rounds out the championship tomorrow. But yes, this is, as you said, you know, when they first introduced it in Le Mans, I thought, okay, that's interesting. Let's see how it goes. And it was a revelation. It was really exciting stuff. The first time they ran it at Le Mans, they have continued with it since then at Le Mans, and bringing it into the World Endurance Championship has absolutely worked well. It's a great opportunity. 10 minutes for our 10 hypercars to set what hopefully will be the best lap possible. Fresh set of tyres used for this session only, so you can rag the living daylights out of them with impunity, Anthony, and actually that perhaps just gives you that little bit of extra margin to really push the car.
They're not part of your tyre allocation if that's what you're thinking for race day. This is a one-off set. It has to be the softest set available to Michelin, and they specify that. That's in the sporting regulation, so they're all on the medium tyres here. That is the softest compound that Michelin have brought here this weekend. So yeah, no worries. This is all about pure lap time. Everyone on new tyres. You can, like you say, use them, abuse them, and you're never going to see them again because you've got 26 individual tyres coming your way, brand new for tomorrow's race.
So
6.5 sets.
So racing.
So yeah, use them all. And Kevin Estre, what can he do here in that number 6 Porsche? Can he get pole position and, critically for the Drivers' Championship, that one extra point?
Well, only one driver has taken 2 poles in Hypercar as well as LMGT3. That one driver is Matt Campbell in number 5 Porsche Penske Motorsport 963. So Kevin Estre, the pole man at Le Mans, he has got that pace. He can turn in some phenomenal laps. Andre Lotta settling in for 10 minutes of exciting family viewing. And why wouldn't you? Kevin is always worth a watch.
About half these 10 cars have aboard them at the moment either a world champion and or a Le Mans winner. It's a massively high quality field.
And Nick de Vries, the fastest man you just see there, car 7 towards that final corner. Once again, Toyota's first out there. Nick de Vries fastest in that knockout round as we riding on board with him down towards turn 1. It's a great shot here. Now we look back at the driver at work, eyes to the left-hand side, focus on those braking marker boards. The 100-meter board is slowing it down, then you look to the apex, pinch it and hold it, then squeeze that throttle pedal gently through turn 2, then fully on the approach to turn 3 as you head up the hill now towards turn 4, and he's backed out of it on this lap. Maybe he's felt that the tyres aren't quite there for him, and I think Brendan has done exactly the same behind him.
Well, we heard when we were watching qualifying in Japan, the engineers setting a metric that the front tyres have to reach a certain temperature before you can go full push. Now, he's just dropped back a little to allow Brendan to go in front. Whether that is a team tactic, Brendan's request, or Nick acting under his own auspices remains to be seen. But it does mean that I was going to say that he'll get a tow, but lots of disturbed air, so he drops back again as we ride on board, Anthony, giving himself some breathing space.
Giving some space. He clearly felt that the tyres weren't quite there in turn 1 and turn 2, so he's backed out of it to save the juice in them, and then he's trying to get the brakes further up to temperature as well, hence that heavy stop behind his teammate as Brendan Hartley continues on his way through turn 11 up the hill. It's much steeper than the cameras make it look, by the way, through there. And it continues to climb, then dips down here towards the apex of turn 13. It's a late apex there. Wait for it, then it comes your way, and you get on the throttle as early as you can. As he's still weaving around, it says to me that the tyres aren't there for their first lap. It's all about winding it up for this next one.
And in the background, you see Nick de Vries really weaving, still a long way back from that sort of temperature. And behind him, Kevin Estre and Matt Campbell coming up fast. So on board with Estre, first of the 2 Porsches. He's had to back off a little. And now has he gone by de Vries? No, he hasn't. That's de Vries in front. Matty Campbell behind him.
Hunting in packs at the moment, aren't they? It's the 2 Penske Porsches together.
And this is riding on board with Antonio Giovinazzi. It's a bit of a harder view for us, isn't it? The viewer down towards turn 1 can't really see the apex or even the braking zone for that matter. But yeah, Kamui there, Kamui Kobayashi and Sebastian Buemi Mike Conway, Alex Works, they're all watching the screens, see their drivers at work.
And you can watch them watching qualifying in full access in about 2 weeks' time as well. Our camera crews will be in all the garages throughout this race weekend, bringing you fly-on-the-wall content that we just can't show you here in our live broadcasts.
Now we're getting down to the proper running and the proper lap times that will set the final pole position for 2024 in the FIA World Endurance Championship. Under 5 minutes to go, and who's got it in the tank?
Yeah, so you can see Vantor is still on a bit of a warm-up lap here, but it's between Hartley and De Vries at the moment. Hartley crosses that sector 2, 4.7 seconds up on the fastest time set for what it's worth, but further behind him, De Vries 4.3 seconds up. So yeah, Hartley a bit quicker at the moment out of the two Toyotas. As we follow him now through turn 14. Let's check that exit. Oh, the rear getting ever so light there, but he's got it under control, has Brendan Hartley. This looks like it's been a pretty decent lap for the number 8. And crosses the line with a 146.7. What can De Vries do?
147.0, so 3 tenths back. Little lock up from the BMW. Which of those is that?
Oh,
that was 20.
I think that was Vantor, wasn't it? That was on his opening lap. So yeah, Toyotas have set the benchmark. Fuoco now, car 51 as we focus there. For P4 at the moment.
Giovinazzi pulls over immediately to allow other cars to go by. There's Antonio Fuoco. So he drops in behind him. This is a little bit like touring car qualifying, where you sit behind your teammate picking up a tow, then you vault in front and give him a tow, but it's not going to work here.
Top 5, top 4 rather within about half a second of each other, 3.5 minutes to go. BMW, it's not quite gone their way so far.
Now, number 8 Toyota taking pole position does not help the Drivers' Championship cause for the number 17.
Yeah, imagine if they lost it by 1 point.
And unfortunately,
Vincent Voss getting a little bit edgy there, isn't he?
That's just settling in for the last couple of moments. The two BMWs slipping further down the frame, though. Now 9th out of the 10 is Robin Freins.
This lap will not count for Dries Vantor after that run off at turn 1.
But look at this, that was a bit too much, wasn't it, for Robin Freins, really having to hang on to the rear end of that BMW. He's P9 at the moment, he goes P6, not quite good enough, 9 tenths away on the lap time. We look further back and pick up Kevin Estre, 7 tenths away by the second sector as he now heads down towards that final couple of corners.
Well, he's only 6 tenths away at the moment, so this isn't even a better lap.
Because he's okay on the exit, he's doing everything he can, but I don't think it's going to be enough to topple those Toyotas. P8 for now is Estre. What's he going to be? P6. He goes P6 as he crosses the line with his teammate behind him.
Yeah, Matt Campbell's lap is looking a lot closer. He's only 3.5 tenths away at the end of sector 2.
No, that's 3.5 seconds.
Seconds away, rather, yeah.
He's backed out of it, surely, on this lap.
Under 2 minutes to go. It is still Brendan Hartley at the top. He has pitted.
Yeah, running on board now with the Hursten Jota car on car number 12, Norman Nato. They have won a race this year, but not with him on board. He was off racing elsewhere, of course, wasn't he, when they won in Spa?
Up to 7th.
Taking that Hypercar World Cup for the privately owned teams, but they're coming hunting for an overall race win again here.
I think they're going to be hanging on to P7 here because he's almost a second down by the second sector.
And not even the best privateer Porsche, because the best of all the Porsches is the 99 Proton car. What a lap from Neil Jarni, 4th place. So to get ahead of Jarni, he needs, not enough going on there. 147.9 for Norman Nato, 7th place, remains where he is, splitting the Porsche Penske 963s.
Yeah, with a minute to go, or less than a minute to go now. I think that they've used all they have from the tyres, and Matt Campbell still trying to push on here.
Can make progress with this run, but needs to be a very solid second sector here.
Yeah, and you're asking a lot now on this track. We've seen such high degradation all the way through, and yeah, that clarifies that thought of mine that it's a second away by the second sector. So yeah, P9 for Matt Campbell. pushing on. It looks like the Porsche here on this track is just a little bit tail happy. We've seen that from a couple of other cars out there as well, and that's not really the balance you want. And yeah, look, off the track there, just in the middle of turn 14 and 15, just struggling too much to hang on to the rear of that car.
Look at the top right-hand corner of his dash, flicking away between green, which is better than his previous lap, and red, which was worse, and it was within a few hundreds. Into the pit lane comes the number 7 Toyota. They do not take the point for pole. The number 6 Porsche does not take the point for pole.
That was a great lap, though, wasn't it, from Brendan Hartley?
Yep.
And we saw the two cars swap positions. He must have read the conditions and the tyres well. And yeah, he's always been a real formidable qualifier, has Brendan. He was up against stiff competition here today with Nick de Vries, who we know is no slouch, and he's really happy with that one. You remember when you asked me earlier on, what does pole position mean? Does it mean anything for an 8-hour race? That's what it means.
Second in Fuji, they were second in Texas in Sao Paulo rather, and now they have their first pole of the season.
Oh, and you know it's been a good lap when even the king of qualifying, Kamui Kobayashi, congratulates you and says it's a very good lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1:46.714, and that's the difference in the emotions at Porsche Penske Motorsports.
Well, qualifying would have been nice, but actually what they want is 2 championships out of tomorrow, not a pole out of today. Kevin Esch, has he got anything going on? No.
No, they're both...
Matt Campbell could still improve a lap time here on this final lap, should he complete it.
But 9/10 away by that second sector is not going to be... I'm surprised
he is going to complete it.
Yeah, he's going to complete it. But yeah, it's been a bit too late for them.
Places. Well, I was actually going to say, they set their first competitive lap time with a minute to go in the session.
They were waiting. They were expecting track improvement. Maybe expected a bit too much from the circuit, but they'd done too many laps on their tyres anyway. So yeah, a bit of a strange tactic there. I think Toyota played that well. It was always going to come right at the start when the tyres are at their freshest.
That still means though that Nilgiani is the quickest of the Porsches in the Proton car, 4th in this session, and what is that, 3-4 tenths quicker than either of the factory cars.
I think all that Porsche could have done there, if they thought they didn't have the speed to beat Toyota today, they should have just waited in the pits. Just don't even go out there with your tyres. There's no point trundling around waiting for the last minute. Just sit in the pits and then go. But obviously you run the risk of there being a red flag or a yellow flag, but it might be a risk worth taking.
What it also means, because we talked about this at the start of the show, is that championship leading Porsche is going to start in the middle of this pack.
Toyota have been more successful this year going hard early, and there is a lesson in that. They're not wet behind the ears. They didn't come on yesterday's boat. These boys know what they're doing, not just with this car and this tyres and this format, but they know what they're doing overall. They always go out early, and they always go hard as early as they can.
Just looking at the overall fastest sector times there, Brendan Hartley hangs on to the first 2 fastest sectors. Third fastest sector was Neil Janney.
Yeah. So the Porsche making its speed down that final sector, downhill.
Toyota 1-2 then. The front row is all Toyota. Second row will be made up of the 51 Ferrari and the Proton Competition 99 Porsche. Then it's the second factory Ferrari alongside the first of the factory Porsches.
So the 2 title favourites.
Absolutely.
On row 3 of the grid. Row 4 of the grid will be Porsche Penske's number 6 and Hertz Team Jota. Row 5 will be BMW's 15 and 20. And then you can see where everybody else has qualified. So that is it for qualifying. That is the first major skirmish. The war, the real battle, will be fought over 8 hours tomorrow. And for Brendan Hartley, well, a fantastic lap. Not just quicker than his teammate Nick de Vries, but just destroyed the field. 3,200s quicker than anybody else. Another 3,200s back takes you down nearly to 5th position. So a very big qualifying lap from him. Kevin Est, okay, it's not about the pole, it's not about qualifying. That would have been nice. What's really critical is these guys have to ride the luck that they've had this season as well as their quality. and take on the race. They've got to go out and try and at least finish on the podium. Well, let's get down to Ferrari and hear from Antonio Giovinazzi.
Antonio Giovinazzi, fastest after the Toyotas, so on the second row of the grid. What about tomorrow?
Yeah, it was a tough qualifying. I think Toyota was too strong today. I managed to do a good lap in both, qualifying and hyper pole. But yeah, just too strong for us today. But it's a long race tomorrow, 8 hours. So we start from a good position. That is good. And we need to just, be smart tomorrow with strategy. Like I mentioned, we will start with really high temperature and close the race with much lower temperature. So strategy, choice of the tires will be really important. So let's make ourselves in a good way, and I'm sure we can do well and try to close this season in a good way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, worth pointing out that although he's quick and close to the Toyotas, the red Ferraris haven't won apart from at Le Mans. Okay, they both won at Le Mans, and that's the one everybody wants, but they haven't yet won anywhere else.
That's the stat that always staggers me. The fact that I was sure that they'd won a World Endurance Championship race, but they've only, I say only in inverted commas, only won at Le Mans in their since returning to.
And actually, talking to the Porsche management, you've won pretty much everything. Yeah, didn't win Le Mans. Oh, okay, but you won every title you went for in IMSA, and actually the odds are good that they will be drivers and critically for Porsche manufacturers champions by tomorrow night, but they still didn't win Le Mans.
Giovinazzi saying, we weren't there today to fight the Toyotas. They were there to fight Nick de Vries. They're only 4/100ths behind Nick de Vries' lap time there with Giovinazzi's efforts. So they are there. They're definitely more than within striking distance. It was just this man we see on screen here, Brendan Hartley, he knocked it out of the park today.
Third Kiwi pole of the season, more than any other nation in the FIA World Endurance Championship.
Well, obviously the stories of today are about pole position, but boy, have we got some headlines to write tomorrow, including where do the World Championships go for both manufacturers and drivers. Is Roger Penske, decades into one of the longest and most illustrious careers in motorsport, finally going to claim a World Championship win? Is it going to be another for Porsche, or we're going to have massive drama that overturns that points advantage?
Here is how they finished after Hyperpole. Toyota Gazoo Racing locking out the front row from the 51 Ferrari and the 99 Proton Competition Porsche. Then our championship favourites, the number 50 Ferrari, the Chasers, and the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport car, which is the series leader. Row 4 of the grid, the number 5 Porsche and Hertz Team Jotas 963. And on row 5 of the grid, the 2 BMW Team WRT machines. And so that is the top 10 fixed. Behind them, everybody from 11th on down to 18th. Exactly where they qualified in the first part of qualifying is where they finish. And Hyperpole for LMGT3. So I can't remember now who came out on top in Hyperpole in LMGT3.
I'm not telling you.
Okay. We'll have to keep that a secret. There you are. Of course it was Josh Cagle in the McLaren. How could I have forgotten that? And again, 0.02 of a second between the two McLarens and a front row lockout. That's not even a toss of a coin.
Unless we forget the second pole position of the year for McLaren, albeit the other one was the Inception car at Le Mans. So congratulations, United Autosports.
And also to Brendan Ariba Inception for a phenomenal pole at Le Mans. I mean, that was very much out of left field. Well, let's get down and join Bruce Ioane for our Hyperpole prize giving.
Sorry, I was a bit early apparently. Congratulations guys on a beautiful pole position and a 1-2 for McLaren. You must be delighted.
Yeah, mega to get the pole at the end of the year for McLaren and for United. Even better to be 1-2. So yeah, dream come true really.
Fantastic. Nico, a little word from you.
Me, it's a great effort from the team. Of course, it was a tricky start of the weekend, but coming out with pole at the last round is a good start for an 8 hours race. It minimized risk. Now try to keep everything clean and tidy to try finish the job tomorrow.
Excellent. Marino, you want to say a little word? You must be happy, please, as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I could do much in the qualifying because it was all Josh driving. But yeah, as a team, I think we pushed really hard, and I mean, delighted to have the first pole as a McLaren, and I mean, to look at the front row, it's even better. So yeah, thanks to everyone in the team and especially to the Josh.
True. Good job. Anyways, it's time to celebrate, and I would invite, please, Joël Ashleman, who's a director of sponsorship at Rolex. to give you those beautiful medals, which is the prize for the Hyperpole award. And you can celebrate, and after that we'll have more pictures. Josh Cagal, who was driving the car, did a brilliant lap. Nico Pino from Chile. And Marino Sato. A beautiful pole position, and again, a 1-2 for McLaren. It's the first time that there was a 1-2 done in GT3s. Before that it was first and eighth. I heard the commentator saying that. Anyways, congratulations. Maybe you want to take a picture. I'll get out of the picture myself. And some applause for them. And I will invite the Hyperpole from Hypercar to come and join here for this award. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot. Good luck for tomorrow in the race. And let's have the Toyota Gazoo drivers. Brandon Hartley, pole position. Sebastian Buemi, please, can you join? Thank you, come in. Brandon first, after a fantastic lap. Brandon, an amazing lap, and I think that you had a little bit of a different strategy compared to Nico, who was just behind you. You did 2 laps in a row. The first warming up lap seemed to have made the difference, and you're driving as well.
Yeah, big thanks to my teammates giving me the trust to do qualifying, and my team for turning things around. Actually, we had a tough day yesterday. We were not happy with a few things on the car. We turned it around. The car felt great today. And yeah, the last lap felt nice. I put it together. Okay, of course it's never perfect, but I learned from Quali 1. I didn't get the tyre prep quite right. And the Hyperpole, the car felt great, came alive, and yeah, it feels so good to be on pole. It's actually our first of the year. We've had a tough year on car 8, so it's a big push for us to finish on a high and try and take a victory tomorrow.
Never perfect, but you were purple everywhere, so that was clearly a good lap. Seb, you must be delighted too.
Yeah, obviously, you know, we had a tough day yesterday, as Brandon said. We were kind of lost, so we've changed a lot of things, and today already in FP3 we felt a bit better, even if we couldn't see it. But now in qualifying, to put it like that, you know, on pole, it's great. Tomorrow is going to be a tough race. It's going to be tough on the tires. I will take the start, so I will try to do my best.
Okay, and finally, can you tell me if you think what you can do tomorrow with the tire deck?
Yeah, hopefully it's good for us. You know, it's going to be good to start from the pole, and yeah, hopefully we can do a good job. And yeah, we have been facing some difficulties this season, so hopefully we can finish in high.
Okay, good. Well, let's hope that, but first there's a high now, which is the medals. Again, I invite you to come in and get that beautiful trophy from Rolex. And again, Joel Ashleyman, who's congratulating Brandon for an amazing lap out there. As he said, the prep lap was key, I think, today for his pole position. Seb Buemi, the most successful driver out there in a hypercar and an LMP1, which used to be hypercar before. Congratulations, guys. We can take a picture. And thank you so much again for such a great qualifying. Happy to be with you here, and don't miss tomorrow. We'll be live. It's a Saturday race starting at 1:25 for the countdown, and the race will be starting at 2. Don't miss it. Thanks and goodbye.